The last person we have on stage before closing remarks, when we talk about how to enhance your IV therapy, the different nutrients that we're delivering, vitamins, minerals, and amino acids, how do we get your cells to utilize those nutrients as best as possible? So we heard other speakers talk about frequency medicine and bioenergetic healing. So what we're talking about specifically here in this next presentation is PEMF, which is pulse electromagnetic field therapy. So our next speaker we have here, Joe LeHotay. I have worked with him very closely. You would think he owns the business Pulse from how much he's involved. He's at every big conference. Go ahead and play it on the screens, guys.
I think one of the biggest mistakes people can make about PEMF of thinking that it's new or unproven. If you think that you have to do a bunch of research proving it to yourself, PEMF has been around 100 years.
Please welcome Joe LeHotay, cellular exercise instructor and independent sales representative for Pulse PEMF, educator and trusted guide in integrating PEMF therapy for clinics and personal recovery.
Basically what PEMF does, it applies the pulse magnetic field to the body and it basically pours bulk energy to stimulate and exercise depleted and low energy cells. And all the PEMF is doing is applying the energy into that environment to help the body do what it's designed to do.
Joe LeHotay. All right, Joe.
Y'all hear me? Do I need this? No, just kidding. Thank you. This is awesome to be here, Vibe 25. I am so psyched. This is the last speaker of the show, you guys. You will be able to eat soon, all of that stuff. So, yeah, thank you for the introduction. Thank you for the little video montage. That's some really cool memories here. I see some clients, friendly faces, friends and family in the crowd, so this is awesome. If I can learn how to use this clicker, we will be all set. So, about 40 years ago, a guy by the name of Paul got into a car accident. And it was not a pretty car accident. He was thrown through the windshield, he broke both legs and tore out both of his shoulders. A year later, he got into another car accident, and it was similar. A year after that, he got mugged in a McDonald's at 10 o'clock at night by a gang. And you know those old school oak high chairs they used to have at McDonald's? That's what they hit him on the head with. So he was lying on the ground with his head split open in a McDonald's at 10 o'clock at night. A couple years later, he had a lifting accident where he tried to lift a piano and he tore so many muscles in his back that they told him he wouldn't walk for a few months. Paul didn't like hospitals or doctors, frankly. So he was looking for alternative therapies and solutions to his pain. For the next 20 years, he searched and was completely depressed, suicidal at times. It wasn't a pretty situation until he finally found PEMF online one day. And he had read about it, how it was getting great results in a lot of European locations. And after some research, he found a source in the United States where he could pick up a pulse device. So he ordered it. Now this was about 20 years ago, so he had gone through 20 years. And he says when he received that device at home, he used it, and for the first time in 20 years, he went to bed pain-free for the first time. He said to himself, I'm gonna use this thing for the rest of my life. This has changed my life. And over the course of the next few months, he was doing great. and he was recovering and getting better. He'd get out, play sports again, shoot hoops, and not take like a week to recover. So all was trending in the right direction. And then the machine broke down on him. And he had to basically take it to the company to get it repaired, which was local. He drove up and found that the company was in someone's garage. So since it worked so well for him, he had the idea, maybe I should just create my own. And he created Pulse PEMF from that, and that was about 20 years ago. And so, today that solution is in place with about 5,000 or 6,000 units out there, probably about 3,000 customers, I would say, on the private side and the professional side, from pro sports and pro individual athletes to regular families down the street, to clinics, IV clinics, chiropractic, functional, integrative, regenerative, all of the wellness practice types you can think of. And everyone is getting phenomenal results with it. So, roll forward about 10 years. I'm selling healthcare IT to hospitals, insurance companies, large group practices. That's my business. And I'm selling ER software, ICU software, anesthesia, critical care software. And I get a call from a buddy. He says, hey, isn't your company being sold right now? I said, well, yeah, it is. He goes, what's going to happen to you? I go, I don't know yet. I don't think I'm going to be around. He says, you ever hear of PEMF? And I said, yeah, I have heard of it. I had used it once for maybe 5 minutes years before. And he says, I just visited a company in Atlanta called Pulse. And I took my very cynical ER doc sister-in-law with me, who was now a functional medicine doc and owned her own med spa. And she hates everything, frankly. That's what he told me. And she loved it. She loved it. It helped her with whatever it was at the time. I don't remember. And he himself had a frozen shoulder incident from playing football at Duke like 30 years ago. And he said he got relief and the pain was gone and he could get stuff off the top shelf after 2 sessions. He says, Joe, you want to look at this? It seems pretty interesting. And I said, yeah, it seems pretty cool. Yeah, give me a call in a couple weeks. Tell me how it goes. It sounds interesting. Well, 2 days later, he calls me back and says, hey, they just lost their person in the Chicago area where I was living at the time. And so, do you want to talk to Pulse? And so that's what I did. And that was about 9 years ago. And frankly, it's been the funnest ride I've ever been on. And let me see if I can, is it the green arrow, you guys? Okay, yeah. So I have a deck here, which I assume all you guys will get if you want to reference it. I'm probably going to veer from it a good bit, so I'm just going to kind of use it as a reference point here. But yeah, we think of PEMF as a tool that can amplify, support, enhance, build the underpinning or the foundation for all the other services that a clinic like y'all's might offer, from IVs to any other wellness or nutritional or hydrational or movement therapies or any of that. Really, what are we facing here in society? All of these things that walk in our doors every day, environmental, lifestyle stressors that are basically compromising the functions of our body. We try to replace those with technology, with lifestyle habits that might improve, with nutritional habits that might improve. But that's really the cause of this, is today's society, I believe, suppressing our cellular energy on a daily basis, from the pollutions and toxins to the frequencies even in this very room. Even the microphone I'm handling right now is probably doing something to compromise, to some degree, the cellular, metabolic, mitochondrial function in the body, which is what we're looking to replace with PEMF. So, what does it stand for? Many people have heard of it before, PEMF for short, pulsed electromagnetic fields. It's a non-invasive technology that you basically either lie on, sit on, or apply it in some fashion to different parts of your body, depending on what brand, what product line you might be looking at. The point of it is to energize depleted low-energy cells so that your body can just do a better job of healing, recovering, resting, regenerating, everything the body is designed to do autonomically, on its own, without your attention in some cases, in the background, but doesn't always have enough energy in the cellular foundational level of the body to pull it off maybe as thoroughly or quickly as we might expect, due to some of the factors we just discussed. And so PEMF is really supporting better circulation, which means potentializing cells so they don't form bottlenecks in the microvasculature, so they can reach the endpoints of where we're trying to effect repair. All of that takes place just by providing a pulsed magnetic field to the body to raise that energy potential of the cells and potentialize those cells negatively so that they can work more properly, more optimally. Okay, yeah, healthy cells equals a healthy body. If anybody can read my shirt, we believe in making mitochondria great again. And, not a lot of people talk about mitochondria. In this room, maybe, but not a lot of people in general society, in the Gen Pop, are thinking about the mitochondrial DNA and how the metabolism is affected by maybe some of these factors, and how that might be addressed. PEMF is a great way to address those things and put back that energy, create more mitochondria, which creates more ATP energy in the body, which allows the body to assimilate nutrients better, assimilate oxygen better. So hanging an IV bag on someone in a pulse chair will advance or enhance the absorption of that nutrition or that hydration, and it will even and it'll help distribute it throughout the body and assimilate it better. So why is it foundational? I believe it's the foundational wellness tool, or the foundational biohack, if you will, because I equate it to fertilizing a garden. If we energize the entire environment of the body, and then anything we do, such as good nutrition, good hydration, movement, other wellness tools, whether it be an oxygen modality or a detox modality like an infrared sauna, let's say, will have potentially better results. Those seeds will thrive more in a more fertilized or energized environment, if you will. So really the foundational level. If you like things like IVs, if you like things like hyperbaric oxygen or oxygen nanobubble therapy or what have you for your ozone treatments, or if you like those infrared saunas for detox, you'll love them if you're doing them in conjunction with PEMF. And so with Pulse in particular, we're a brand who provides what I would call an impulse-based PEMF. And the reason I say that is I draw a distinction between what I think is about 90% of the PEMF market. And some of you guys might have familiarity with the PEMF market before. Most of it is made up of products that are not comparable to Pulse from an experience standpoint. If anyone's ever laid on a PEMF mat, that might provide some frequency-based resonance to it, maybe some infrared or some red light. Those are beneficial. They don't provide the same experience necessarily for the client when they're on it. And so what Pulse is able to do is really provide something that somebody can remember. A lot of times I'll ask people, have you used PEMF before? Yes, it was, blank brand or it was a blank type of mat. Do you remember what brand it was? No, I really don't. But anyone I've ever asked that has tried Pulse before remembers it. Even if it was 10 years ago, they can remember exactly what it was called, what it looked like, exactly how it felt, where they put it. So it's really that type of comparison where it has this very impactful, engaging experience associated with it right from the beginning. And as long as I think you're providing an experience along with results, those have to both be provided to clients. You can't put people on a joyride and not get a good result or not get any result. People won't come back. And you can't put people you won't be very successful putting people on something, even if it has a lot of science behind it. Sometimes if they can't feel it happening in their body, they won't come back unless their life changes on the first session. So there's really a big difference out there in terms of the PMF brands that are on the market, and it's all depends on what you guys want to create, what type of environment, what type of engagement and long-term consistent use models you all want to create with this. I think a lot of that is centered on power, which provides that intense experience if you want. Super flexible though. You have different attachments for different areas of the body. So yes, you can even pulse your head. And yeah, I may have mentioned this, but we probably have about 5,000 or 6,000 units out there US wide. So why do people use PEMF? The first reason people use a lot of the modalities in wellness is pain. Pain or some unresolved health concern. Now, pain is a big one, whether it's chronic, whether it's an injury, what have you. It's very, very good with pain, and it's very, very quick to give an impact. And so if somebody walks in, their shoulder's bothering them, they've had, you know, a bad experience for a number of years or weeks, and they've tried a lot of different things, a lot of times when they jump on PMF, they will have a nice result, enough of a result to come back and continue the therapy in the first session. And so we love it for that. Also helps modulate the nervous system, so that helps when they're in the IV chair, is to just dial them down into a parasympathetic state so they can relax a little bit. Circulation and oxygenation, same thing. We're just helping the circulation, helping potentialize the cells, like we said, so they can be delivered to the endpoints. And then overall energy, performance, longevity, overall wellness. So work it into your wellness strategy at the foundational level, and you'll get great results. So where we see this is basically all over. Any of the wellness type practices that have any cash component in there. So we're not generally, this is a wellness device, it's not a medical device, so it's not billable generally to insurance. So you'll find us in all kinds of chiropractic, functional, integrative, stem cell docs, biohacking centers, IV lounges, all of those categories. About a little less than half of my clients, I have about 300 clients personally. Pulse has probably 10 times that. And about 49% of mine are professional clients like you guys that are running clinics of some sort. And the other 51%, a little over half, are private, down the street families. About 30% of our business at Pulse, and this is not unlike other PMF companies as well, is focused on animals as well. So this is a modality that can be used really as often as you'd like to use it. It's nutrition. I would think of it as more vitamin than aspirin, even though it can be a really good aspirin if you're dealing with something specific, as I just said earlier. But if you use it consistently over time as a supplement, as nourishment, the body runs on electricity in a lot of ways, and just having a pleasant experience that you can do consistently is a great way for long-term resiliency. What have we heard out there? Basically, in 9 years, I've heard almost everything you could possibly imagine. But I'll highlight a couple of things here. You know, more energy, better recovery. Best investment I've ever made was from a major league pitcher with a $98 million contract, so I like that one. That's a nice one to put on a slide. But we hear that from people who don't make $98 million as well. My shoulder, Achilles knee still feels better after one session. So there was a gentleman I met about a month ago who came in to my booth, like at a conference like this, with his fiance. And I asked him if he had any trouble spots on the body. He said, my shoulder. I said, what about your shoulder? He said, it's been bothering me since 2006. I said, what happened? He goes, no, I asked him, do you have any pain right now? He said, yeah. What is it? 8 out of 10. How often do you have 8 out of 10 pain? Every day. Every day for how long? Since 2006. I said, what have you tried? What do you think I've tried? He said, I've tried everything. And he came into my booth, and his fiance sat in my chair. He got up on my table. I put some pulse paddles on his shoulder, and he pulsed for 12 minutes. Now, during that 12 minutes, I was speaking with his fiance and had my back turned to him. She looks past me and says, he's asleep, after like 5 of the minutes. And I said, oh, that's pretty cool. He's asleep. And it's a conference hall. It's like lit and loud. And it was happy hour. The bar was like right across from my booth. And so we just let him sleep. He wakes up after the 12 minutes and he sits up on my table and he looks at me. And I'm used to seeing people look at me like this, frankly. But he goes, what the did you just do? He goes, I don't have any pain. And I go, okay, that's cool. In the back of my mind, I'm like, give it 2-3 days. You know, give it 2-3 hours. It'll be back. So I forget about it. I say goodbye. 5 minutes later, the woman comes back up to me. She looks at me. She goes, can I give you a hug? I go, sure. She gives me a hug. She says, he hasn't had pain relief like this. She goes, now you have to work on my hip. So we put her on the table. We gave her 12 minutes. She gets off the table, very similar. She's like, man, I feel like 90% better. She goes, stop by my office in 2 days. I'll buy one of these. So I did that. We show up at her office and she's texting patients. She's bringing them into the office. So we treated 6 or 7 patients that morning, my son and I. But that was a really good, and I found out later that the reason he had his shoulder pain was he was in the service and he jumped out of a plane, landed on the ground and impaled his shoulder on something. So he was not in good shape. He had all kinds of hardware in there and everything, you know. So anyway, I like that one. The one where the 70-year-old woman calls me up in tears because she'd been going to one of our clinics for a couple of weeks, and she walked in the first time with her walker, of course, with neuropathy. And she walked out the day before she called me without her walker. And so she was literally, you know, crying on the phone. I did not end up choosing to sell her a system just because I thought she was on a good enough trend to just continue to see her doctor and maintain, and I didn't need to have her buy a system for me at her age and not need to use it every day necessarily. So I didn't want to do that. But everything from MSK, nervous system, circulatory, autoimmune, anything you could possibly imagine that would benefit from extra energy being bolused into the body is what Pulse is good for. Not any medical claims, not any medical conditions being cured or healed or diagnosed or anything like that, but the body uses energy for everything it does. So we supply that energy. In the market, I mean, everybody's looking for things that they can do that are passive, non-invasive, not needing drugs or surgeries in a lot of cases. And it is a big, big, big playground, as we all know. And being a core, what we think a foundational solution in this marketplace is something we're very excited about, excited to share with as many people as we can, and excited to bring to as many of your guys, clients potentially as we can. So how do you do it? I mean, how do you do it? Once you buy a system, like how are you gonna integrate it into your clinic? And for an IV lounge, I would say, and this is a best practice, normally we recommend, let everybody try it once. Give everybody a test drive of 5 or 10 minutes, because like I said earlier, even if they're familiar with the acronym PEMF and maybe they've used a mat before, I can almost guarantee 9 people out of 10 will be surprised when you put them on the Pulse chair or the Pulse Zero Gravity Lounger or the bed. They won't equate that to a past experience they might have had with PEMF, because the therapies are so very different, even though they're called the same thing. So for clinics and wellness centers, I would let everybody have a free little test drive on it, and then I would go to like a 3-for-1 package, introductory package. So this has been a best practice in our client base, where you're gonna charge probably $1.50 to $2 a minute for this therapy. Times can range between 20 and 60 minutes. Traditionally, if you're obviously running them with an IV, it can run the entire time you're getting the IV ready and prepped, all the way to the time they're completely done. And so you can upgrade an IV with it, use it as a standalone, have people just sit in the chair for a full body session, address specific concerns like we said, and really get that engagement, and then convert folks to packages when they see some progress. And they will see progress. In that 3-for-1, I would always suggest doing it in a 1-week period. You can even do it 3 consecutive days, because I'd rather have the benefits accumulate so it makes a bigger impact versus it's like going to the gym. We call this cellular exercise. So like going to a gym, physical exercise. You don't want to go to a gym once a week for 3 weeks. You'd rather go 3 times in 1 week to get the good benefits and get the accumulation. So that's the way we think of PEMF as well. And then you, after the introductory, then you offer 5s or 10s or 15s or 30 or 50 packs even for a full recharge. If you want to think of it as, if you're working with something specific, I always say, let's sell a package where they can do 3 or 4 sessions a week for 3 or 4 weeks, and then reevaluate and maybe go on more of a maintenance mode. I always want people to think of this again as nutrition, so let's keep consistent with it, and let's teach and educate our patients and our clients that you shouldn't only come, just like you guys do on the IV side, I'm sure. You don't want necessarily patients only coming to you when the house is burning down. You want to prevent those fires as much as possible and put people on programs that are going to build that resiliency and that immunity consistently over time versus just coming in for an IV, every time they get a cold, or every time they just feel a little bit sluggish, or every time they're just needing a little more cellular energy. You want to be promoting that consistent use. This fits right in with that. I think you should be offering PEMF in some form. Of course, we'd love it to be pulse, but in some form with every IV you guys are giving, because it will help them, as we said, run faster in most cases, be absorbed and assimilated better. And for drips like NAD+, that have the symptomology associated with them, with the pressure for a lot of people and the nausea and the headache, those can be mitigated and really reduced, if not offset completely, so that you can run those drips much quicker. So some people are doing 250s and 500s in under 60 and under 90 minutes, respectively, in a lot of cases. Okay? Pulse, in particular, provides all of the training, certification and support, and all of the tools and resources and structures that you guys need to ramp the business up, whether it be a Facebook community for other users, hundreds of other users who have years of experience. Some reps are on that, some other providers are on that, some personal users are on that, so you can get a lot of feedback from that community, as well as the formal online training from Pulse and the ability optionally to come down to Cartersville, see me, and be hosted at the Pulse Training Center, where you can come in for a half a day with your staff, or if you have multiple locations, bring them all to Cartersville, Georgia. It's the Atlanta area. It doesn't sound so glamorous when you say Cartersville. And those are always an option for you as well. So we sell the equipment basically a la carte. If you're familiar with our product line, we have 3 different machines or generators that generate the PEMF field, and then we have 7 different accessories that we call, which are the applicators. So we have a lounger, which is 0 gravity. We have a bed, which sits on top of a massage table. It's like a mat that's about a couple inches thick, 6 feet long, 30 inches wide. And then we have a chair, the ones that are set up in the IV lounge, those are those. And then we have 4 focused accessories for working on joints specifically, or the head, or some area, smaller area of the body. So we can go all the way from systemic down to your pinky, if you'd like to. Yeah, so that's really about it. I'd like to thank you guys, and I don't know if we're doing questions at this thing or not, but I'd be happy to take any if there were any out there with a couple minutes left. Don't tell me I covered every possible topic. If not, I will just say thank you very much, you guys. Really appreciate being here.
Give it up for Joe. Joe, thank you. PEMF. Amazing. Thank you, brother.
Thanks, Sam.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, man.
All right, I'll take that mic from you. All right. Oh, thank you. Amazing. Ben, come up here. Make sure this is on. Yep. So on behalf of the Vibe Conference and the American IV Association, we want to thank you guys for coming out here to get yourself educated, learn, connect, collaborate with all of the different people in the industry. Next year, well, Ben, go ahead and talk about next year, about Vibe Conference and what we've decided to do for the next year.
Well, next year we're going to be going to Las Vegas.
Oh, yeah.
But I was talking to Sam just before this, and unfortunately we did make a mistake. We forgot to put film in the camera, so we need everybody that's in the room right now to come up so we could get a few pictures to use to promote all of next year.
Everybody who actually stayed here till the end, come on up. We want to take a picture. You guys are the truth. You guys made it all the way to the end, so I want you guys to come up, and we're going to take that last picture.
Yes.
All the shorties in the club, let me see you just back it up, drop it down, let me see you just get low, scrub the ground, let me see you just push it up, push it up, let me see you just
wobble baby, wobble baby, wobble baby, wobble, yeah. Wobble baby, wobble baby, wobble baby, wobble, yeah. Wobble baby, wobble baby, wobble baby, wobble, yeah. Wobble baby, wobble baby, wobble.
I wanna be in Get in there, ladies and gentlemen. Get in there.
Hey, big girl, make her bag it up. Make her bag it up. Hey, big girl, make her bag it up. Make her bag it up. Hey, big girl, make her bag it up. Make her bag it up. Hey, big girl, make her bag it up. Make her bag it up. Back it up.
I got them shaking they booties like congos, man. I'm shaking the city like quakes. The haters blue in the face like Gonzo, cause I'm breaking the cake, so let's bake. I'm taking the game's mine.
Here we go, hands up everybody, hands up, hands up, hands up!
Game, but y'all might wanna say you whack raps, they like saving time. I can dance, homie, on two-step. Y'all looking at something like a tree.
It's a Rap Vibe 2025 Expo!
Lick it down with the tool in his pants.
Come on, come on!
Ladies, let me see it vibrate. And when it's over, you ain't gonna need your bird. Cause I'm a pro, make you bend your back low, then the pounder real bad, just like the percolate.
Wobble with it, wobble with it, wobble with it.
Wobble baby, wobble baby, wobble baby, wobble.
This has been the Vibe 2025 Expo. Appreciate everybody for coming out.
get in now, get in now, get in now,
Hey, big girl, make her
Back it up.
make her bag it up. Hey, big girl, make her bag it up. Make her bag it up. Hey, big girl, make her bag it up.
Big shout out to Liquid Vita,
Hey, big girl,
the Drip Bar.
make her bag it up. Back it up.